Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Little Miss Anal Ina Baerbock here, and I'm also going to be talking about the South Korean president. But I'm going to start the show with this young lady here. And this young lady, not many people know about this, but she hires a hairstylist for 7,500 euros per month that she pays. And this hairstylist basically follows her everywhere, including flights and accommodation, etc. And this is basically paid out of taxpayers' money. So German taxpayers pay for this hairstylist to follow her around. Schultz has his own hairstylist as well, as you can see. Um, Anyway, going back to this young lady, so Alan Baerbock probably went to the same school of thought as Antony Blinken and Liz Truss. I don't know which of them is worse. I mean, I can't think. I know all three are really, really bad foreign ministers we have in this world. Probably the worst I've ever seen in my whole life. So I'll leave it to the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Which one do you think is worse? Her, Liz Truss, or Antony Blinken? Anyway, let's move on. She arrived in China and she had literally nobody important greeting her from the Chinese. And you might think, oh, she's not a leader of the state, but doesn't really matter, guys. I mean, even Lavrov had a much, much better greeting than what Annalena Baerbock gets. And you got to look at the difference that Lula is getting. Has arrived in China as well. He's getting an amazing reception in China, and you can see here he's loving it. He's getting an amazing reception. You see kids are celebrating him coming in. He's got a big smile in his face, and yeah, she might not be the leader of the state, but this is Germany we're talking about, one of the top industrial nations in the world, one of the top richest countries of the world. So surely she should have got better treatment than what she's getting now, right? Unfortunately, she had the same treatment in India, where nobody important greeted her in India as well. I mean, she has insulted the Indians by some of her comments she made. And she's a very much an anti-Chinese hawk as well, so you can't really expect her to get any sort of good treatment. And she'll probably get the same treatment as van der Leyen. Van der Leyen arrived in China with nobody to greet her, and she'll probably be sent on her way in economy class like the rest of them. If you haven't seen my video on van der Leyen, I made one a few days ago. You're welcome to check it out. I was one of the first reporters to report van der Leyen coming in with no special treatment and exiting on economy class like the rest of us peasants. So going back to um, Annalena Baerbock, you can see she's very much an anti-Chinese hawk. She's been sent to China to fix some of the wrongs in quotation marks that Macron has been saying. She's been sent as damage control. As you can see, a lot of Western papers are sending her as a damage control to basically um, backstep everything Macron has said. And that's what all the West is kind of expecting from her. However, everybody knows she is very much an anti-Chinese minister. Her comments are very, very anti-Chinese, and she has been very, very vocal as well. And she's been talking about human rights. She's been talking about Taiwan independence. She's been talking about decoupling from China. So she's very much an anti-Chinese hawk. And the Chinese know this already about her. And the Global Times has already made a report about this, and they know she's a very much an anti-Chinese hawk, and they know that she's basically, you can see here, she's been regarded as a hardliner towards China and Germany. The American British media have high expectations she can revise Macron's remarks regarding China. So they expect her to kind of backtrack everything Macron has said. But everybody knows she's a very much an anti-Chinese hawk. The Chinese know this already. She's already come into China. She's already talked about human rights in Xinjiang. She's talked about uh, China pushing Russia to stop the war in Ukraine. She has stopped short on declaring war on China, which is good. I mean, everybody knows last time she opened her mouth, she was openly saying Germany was at war with Russia. As you can see here, she calls on China to stop the aggressor, Russia, to stop the war. And then she also pointed accusing finger at China's human rights issue. I mean, come on. You go to someone's house and you basically pointing fingers and accusing them of stuff, and it's just not very courteous to do that when you go to another country. And she's obviously there for a reason, and you can see Germany's economy has not been doing very well, and she goes to China to accuse them of human rights, and she's asking China to tell their best friend Russia to stop the war in Ukraine. What about her asking United States and the rest of Europe to stop supplying weapons to Ukraine? How about she gets Zelensky to talk to Russia and work out a peace deal? But no, none of that. She's asking China to stop the aggressor, Russia, but she doesn't think about anything about Ukraine. I mean, you have her sidekick recently coming on saying sorry to Ukraine about weapons going in very late to Ukraine, and he's openly talking about how sorry he is. I mean, these guys, the whole of Germany has become absolute puppets of the West, and it must be embarrassing for a German to watch these clowns on show, absolute clowns. So you can see she is one of the main instigators of producing a new German policy, and this white paper is being produced in Germany as we speak. And it talks about completely changing their China policy. They're going to force companies to um, they're not going to be investing in companies who invest in China, and they're going to be forcing a lot of companies to leave China as well. They're going to stop um, subsidies to companies that have factories in China, and they're going to stop Chinese investments in Germany. There's a huge anti-Chinese white paper ready to be signed in Germany, and this is going to be ready by this year. Is a complete shift from their Chinese policy, and they don't realize that they rely on a lot in China. Most of their profits come from China. China is their biggest trade partner. So I just don't understand this economic suicide that they are doing. And once this paper is signed and dusted, then only one person is going to be the loser, and that is the German taxpayer, because the German's economy is going to be completely going down the pan. German's economy over the years has been relying on two things: cheap Russian oil and gas, and selling to the Chinese market, and as well as having cheap products from China as well. So without these two massive markets, Germany is going to be going down severely, and you can see by their GDP numbers, the inflation and the economy is not very good. But, this is all going down to Americans' plans. American plan was to keep Germans down, and this is completely working. They're going to destroy Germany's economy, and they're going to force businesses to move to the United States. And this is their plan all along, and this woman's basically making it happen. So you got the Poland Prime Minister in the United States, and he is talking about Taiwanese independence and stuff like that. So this guy has also gone into the dark side. So you cannot really trust, the Polish and the German government the way they are right now. They have completely signed on the dotted line to become the greatest puppets of the United States. And unless these guys leave power, I can see the Polish people suffering and the German people suffering for a very, very long time. So now I'm going to move on to South Korea. And this guy is an absolute joke. So you have these leaks which have come out recently, and one of those leaks basically said that the South Korean leader was being spied on by the United States and things like that. So the South Korean leader has come on record to say a few days ago, he says basically out of the leaks documents, they are all riddled with bogus information. He said all of these claims were fabricated and lies. And then 1 or 2 days later, um, you can see that the guy who released these documents has been caught and has been charged. So his stories about all of these documents being fake and untrue and bogus information has completely turned around and embarrassed him, nationally embarrassed him, because it looks to me that they are absolutely true. They are not fake. Because why would this guy be arrested for these release of these documents and charged? So obviously these documents were completely true. And you can see South Korean president caught on the mic and media reports basically everything was untrue, but now he's shown to be true. So this guy has completely lied and completely embarrassed himself, and also showed himself to be a obedient puppet as well. So recently he went to Japan, and he basically said that Japan and South Korea, they will start trading with one another. The previous president of South Korea had basically a trade um, issue with Japan. Japan and South Korea stopped trading with each other unless Japan paid for reparations for the Second World War. Basically, they used South Korean comfort ladies, and also, everybody knows that Japan invaded South Korea in the Second World War, killed a lot of people, took away a lot of their riches, and also used their women as comfort ladies. And till to this day, Japan has not apologized or paid for reparations. However, Japan has not even paid reparations or apologized to the atrocities they've done to China. And I'm talking about the Nanking massacre and hundreds and thousands, even millions of lives they've cost around China and also Southeast Asia. The Japan imperialists, they caused so much atrocities and horrific acts in the Second World War, and that is I can talk about that in a separate video, but it really is horrific. Probably the worst crimes any human has done, and it's even worse than Nazi Germany. And a lot of this stuff people in South Korea seems to have forgotten about. And this is why this guy Yoon has been branded a traitor, because he's basically shaken hands with Japan again, signed trade deals with Japan again, and everything has been brushed under the carpet. Japan still has not apologized or paid any reparations, and Yoon has basically given Japan a free pass and allowed Japan and South Korea to start trading again. So this guy is an absolute puppet. This is exactly what the US wanted, and this is why many South Koreans are calling this guy a traitor, and rightly so, unfortunately. And you can see previously he's been caught lying, and however, he will not be removed from the office because everybody knows he's basically a puppet of the United States. So when you're a friend of the United States, you can literally do whatever you want. You can lie, you can cheat, and you will never be taken out of office because you're in a lot of favors with the United States. And they put him in power, everybody knows that. And as long as he toes the line, he's safe. His job is safe. He can lie as much as he wants. Nobody can do anything. And so you can see here, US secrets leaks leads to drop in support in South Korean president. So the fact that he's lied again and he said that these reports were false and fabricated, now that the fact that the guy has been arrested and it's shown that these documents are true, again, the South Koreans are basically not happy, and his approval ratings has gone to 27% recently, and especially they're not happy because he's lied again, and you can see approval rating has fallen to the lowest level in 6 months, dragged down by his response to leaked documents that that showed the United States spied on his allies. The fact they lied and the fact they made to look really ridiculous and stupid, the fact that Americans are spying on him and he doesn't really care, again shows he's an absolute puppet, and the South Koreans are not very happy with that. And you can see here, South Koreans have been enjoying a trade surplus with China. China has been their biggest trade partner for many years, and they have been basically selling a lot of chips to China. They've been having a very, very good trade surplus with China, but that's about to end, basically due to their very hawkish stance with China. And you can see Korea is not likely to enjoy strong states trade surplus with China anymore. And this is because of their anti-Chinese rhetoric and the fact that they've joined the chip alliance with United States, and he's become very anti-Chinese and very hawkish towards China, and this has been shown in the economy of South Korea. You can see Samsung's profits have plunged by 96%. Um, so even Samsung's used to sell a lot of chips to China. Even that has stopped because they have basically signed a deal with the United States to stop supplying chips and equipment to China, and because of that, their profits have completely nosedived. South Korean cars are basically going down the pan in China. Nobody's buying South Korean cars in China. Even Chinese are sick of South Korean products, and they are pretty much boycotting anything South Korean. So the cars are basically gathering dust in China, and nobody's buying South Korean products. And even tourists are not going into South Korea, and that could be down to this reason. South Korea extends restrictions on travelers from China. Basically, they put these restrictions on place because they're afraid of catching COVID from China, and it's kind of racist because they have opened their doors to every other country around the world, but they've not opened their doors to China. And Chinese find that very, very racist, and this is one of the reasons they have kind of boycotted going into Korea and also buying South Korean products as well. And you can see here, Chinese tourist boycott backfires on South Korea's Jeju Island. Jeju Island is one of the um, top tourist destinations in Korea, and it's a huge, huge industry for Jeju Island. And 47% of all tourists coming into Jeju Island are Chinese, and unfortunately, there's nobody going to Jeju Island going anymore, and this is affecting their tourism. And South Korea is being affected very, very heavily because of it. And South Korea as well is having huge inflation issues. The economy is not doing very well. They're hugely reliant on the dollar as well. So South Korean's economy is going down day by day, and this is down to their very hawkish stance against China. And this is because of Yoon's policies of being anti-Chinese. And again, you can see the economy really suffering in South Korea. Plus, they've got North Korea to worry about as well. So things are not going very well for South Korea. So the other thing about the South Korean president is when somebody asked him about why doesn't he go to China. He's obviously gone to Japan to sign a trade deal with Japan. So one of the reporters asked him, why doesn't he go to China? And his response was, why should I go to China? Why doesn't President Xi come to Korea first? So that kind of arrogant attitude does not win him any friends in China. The fact that he's a complete puppet, he's not showing any respect to China or President Xi, and this is basically gonna lead him down the wrong path and a very, very dark path. So that's all for today, guys. Let me know what you guys think of Anolina Baerbock and as well as the South Korean President Yoon. What do you think of their responses and their very hawkish stance on China? Is he gonna win them any favors? Is it gonna help their countries at all? I don't think so. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now.